A girl between the lands. My dad had to pay more than $10,000 to the human smugglers to take him to safety, where he dreamt of giving us a safer and better future. So he sold all his belongings and took all his savings and put them together so that he could leave and go to Australia. We as a family wished for all of us to go together, but for two reasons we couldn't go. One was that my dad could not afford for all 5 of us to be paid and be taken to Australia by boat by human smugglers, and the second, that my dad didn't want to risk all 5 of us lives. He wanted to only risk his life and sacrifice his life just in case he didn't make it. So after several days of just that boat journey, and before getting there, starting from our town all the way to that boat journey, he had to cross several countries, which in total took him several months to get to Australia. And when my dad arrived to the Australian side of the sea, the Australian Navy rescued them off the boat and put them on their ship and took them to the land. And he was grateful for that, because now he was able to eat and drink and be safe. As soon as they got to the land of Australia, he called my mom and said that he is safe, he arrived, and again asked her to take care of us kids. Then the officials took him and put him in a detention camp for several months. And at that detention camp for refugees like him, he was able to have access to food and water and medical care. And he was given a small amount of pocket money, which instead of him spending on himself, he would send that little amount of money to my mom to take care of us. So he arrived safely to that new piece of land, our dreamland. And back in our town, living in that patriarchal society and a very unsafe place, my mom now had to also become the father figure for us. She had to put on a brave face to go out, get us groceries, and do all the manly things. She had to become the backbone of our family in that patriarchal society while being a mother. And that phone call of my dad about him arriving safely also ended our prayers. That was the answer to our prayers. And we finally showed gratitude to God for letting him arrive safely. We continued going to school as usual in that unsafe environment, for the hopes that my dad will be able to take us to Australia, and soon that we will be reunited and live in safety. Oh, how cruel politics is, that it takes away the right to live safely and happily from people. How cruel the greed for power and money is, that it keeps families apart, breaks them, and gives them uncertain lives. When my dad arrived, the politics there was that these refugees will not be given permanent residency and won't be able to bring their families over. They will not be able to reunite with their families for an uncertain amount of time, and maybe for good. That they will be sent back to where they came from. But it did not break us. It did not make us hopeless and disappointed. We still continued praying now for our family reunification, and we did not give ourselves the luxury of being hopeless and disappointed and giving up. We still had faith in God and hope in God, and asked him now for family reunification. And after a long period of time, when my dad was allowed to come out of the detention camp and live in a normal home environment, he was still not allowed to legally work. But he had a family to feed and himself. So just like many other refugees, he was left with no option but to go to the farm and work and earn for us. Despite the rain, the heat, and the cold weather, he would go to that farm early morning and work for a low wage so that he could take care of us